years ago when we started talking about strip till and doing some strip till on our farm, everybody asked, well, why do you want to do that? Shouldn't you do more tillage? And I mean, are you sure that's all you want to do is till this little strip? We're not even going to focus on the tillage aspect of strip till today. We'll talk about that a little bit next week. What we really care about, and the number one reason why we wanted to do some strip till, is fertilizer savings.
Fertilizer placement is so important out in your fields. You really have to think about it, especially when you're looking at things like potassium and phosphorus. We like to use the strip till to put our fertilizer down 8 or 10 inches deep in the soil. You say, well, what's the big deal about 8 or 10 inches deep versus putting it on the surface and just tilling it in? The big difference is P&K really don't move very much in the soil. They're going to stay pretty much right where you put them, maybe move a 1/4 inch in a year at the most. So why would you put them up at the top of the ground where it's going to dry out later in the summer and your roots won't be able to access those nutrients? For me, I see the efficiency of potassium and phosphorus going up tremendously on our farm by putting it deep in the soil where there's going to be some moisture where our crops can pull it out later.
And the other thing with GPS, we've got RTK auto steer on our farm now, so we can lay that band in the fall, we can plant directly over that in the spring. We've done some tests on our farm. If we're within about 5 inches one way or the other in planting the next spring, yield is about the same. When you get farther away than that, then yield would start to drop off a little bit. So at least if you can be fairly accurate with that, so you lay that band in the fall, you plant right over that in the spring or at least close, you can get better efficiency, better uptake on that fertilizer. And I'll just tell you, on our farm, what we've done over about 8 years now, we're doing some fields broadcast and full tillage, everything else. And for comparison, we're doing some of the strip till stuff and banding, and we are going out with about a 2/3 rate of phosphorus and potassium compared to what we're doing in the broadcast, and the yield is about the same on these fields over about an 8-year period. So we're doing this over a long-term time so we can see what the real difference is, because it's easy to make anything work for a year or two, but is it really going to work over 10 years or 20 years? And we believe the strip till thing will work. It's especially good if you're going to be renting ground and you don't know if you'll have this ground 3 or 4 years from now. Why spend all that money on P&K that somebody else will get to use 10 years from now? Why not ban that P&K so you can use it more efficiently, use it in the short term? It's a good deal. It will save you some money.
One of the things that guys really like about banding fertilizer with strip till is you avoid a lot of the tie-up issues. Maybe you've got a wild pH, it's really high or it's really low, and you're getting a lot of nutrient tie-up, or maybe the parent material of your soil is high in magnesium or some other nutrient that's going to tie up these valuable crop nutrients and keep them from getting into your plants. Why have that problem? You broadcast it out there, you got all this tie-up? No, band it, keep them together, keep them concentrated. Then the soil cannot tie those nutrients up nearly as fast as it will when they're broadcast and spread evenly across the whole field.
Let's talk dollars and cents real quickly. In our farm, on average, this fall, we're going to be spending $100 an acre on phosphorus where we're broadcasting. We'll reduce that and we'll only spend probably $65 an acre where we're going to be banding. So it's $35 an acre difference when we talk about phosphorus. It's roughly half that when we're talking about potassium, so we might save $15 or $20 an acre. But grand total, I'm talking about a $50 an acre savings when we go banded versus broadcast for what we need for fertilizer rates if we're going to do justice to that thing and get what we feel are equivalent yields.
And there's no magic program out there. You still have to look at what your crop is going to remove from the soil and at least put out that many pounds again. And when you're doing a broadcast, there's going to be too much tie-up. You just aren't going to get the yield with the same amount of fertilizer. To maximize yields with the lowest amount of fertilizer possible, banding and strip till is a great way to go.
Well, I wish it was that easy for controlling our weed of the week, where we just had a couple simple steps, but we'll try to help you out coming up next.